Robbie
Tribulations on double
32.
16. This time it's for the match. For the Australian.
Game,
It's a winning
shot,
start
and
for
a
the
match.
Australian. Robbie King will be over the moon with a 4-0 start. They hug, they chat. Plenty of work to do for Gino Voss, but it's a winning start for Robbie King, and that's the most important positive for him as he walks off there. Next up, it's Rhys Collier against Lewis Gurney.
Lewis, you require
But
78.
he goes treble 14.
Because he hit the treble 14 last time. What are we to know in the commentary box? It's in his hands. What I like here, he's just reset.
Game shot on the third leg.
The
Lewis
only
Gurney.
difference I could say, I felt it was a little rushed the first time, that double 18, double 9 combination last time. But he hit the treble 4, and
Lewis, you
for me, that's
require
the outcome
16.
of that.
Well, last visit, Gurney hit a single when he wanted a double, then hit a double when he wanted a single.
Game,
But he
shot,
does hit the
and a
double
match.
to
Lewis
complete
Gurney.
the 4-0 victory. Neither player who's won 4-0 has really had to work that hard for it, in truth. Robbie King 4-0 against Gino Voss now. Gurney with the same scoreline against Rhys Collier. 80 average in the end, 4 out of 14 on the doubles, but Rhys Collier has got a lot of work to do back in the practice room. Coming next, Charlie Large against Dan Reid. Various
Dan, you
young
require
players, of course, made that
157.
Lakeside final in the youth tournament, lost out to Bradley Roos, who we saw here recently. Well, this would be a sensational start for Reid. Looking at tops.
Game shot on the
what
first
a
leg.
way.
Dan Reid. And you require
Again, the execution of the
135.
double has been the telling point today. He can still do this with treble 20. And you have to feel that first dart's a good man. He doesn't have to move.
Game
And
shot on the
what
fourth
a dart.
leg. Dan
That is the
Reid.
dart of the day so far. And you can see the frustration, and Charlie has to get all over this.
It's all about how much he can see now, and he stepped across a fair way to the right.
60.
Only had maybe
Dan, you
a
require
little
24.
more than half the bed to aim at.
No
Game,
messing about
shot,
this time.
and
It's
a match.
rampant Reid
Dan
here at the
Reid.
Motor Super C. It's a great start for Dan Reid. You can see that bounce on his step there. It was a masterclass of finishing from Dan Reid. That was the tail of the tape in that game. For Charlie Large, he'll assess that. He can get better, and he will come back. As next up, we have Gino Voss against Rhys Collier. For Gino Voss, ultimately, it's about hitting doubles,
Game,
and that
shot,
is
and a
exactly
match.
what the doctor
Gino
ordered for
Voss.
Gino Voss. It was a tough opening game for him, but he's up and running for Rhys Collier. This could be a tough competition from now on. Nothing much to separate them, but Gino Voss, for the positives, we'll see a different player from that game. It's a big win for him, as next up the ever-impressive Dan Reid against Robbie. Dan Reid was looking at will be the area Robbie King will be looking with his first dart. He'll look at a big 17 now. For that term, one dart at tops.
Game shot on the third leg. Robbie King.
Perfect run
Robbie, you require
on the
16.
outer ring in this game, an average of 93. And
Game
4
shot,
out of
and a match.
4
Robbie King.
on the doubles, 100% for Robbie King, and nothing much that Dan Reid could do about it. A 4-2 success for King that sees him go top of the table in its early stages, but by far the best display we've seen so far today. Right, coming next, game 6, and it features Lewis Gurney and Charlie Large. 106
Charlie, you
to
require
get the first leg
106.
in the ledger.
Double 16.
Game shot on the first leg.
That's a
Charlie
quality
Large.
finish, a 106.
13.
Charlie, you require
Unlucky
40.
for him, and Large can finish the job on tops. In
Game,
tops.
shot,
And a
and a
4-1
match.
win.
Charlie Large.
And Charlie Large gets off the mark in Group C, defeating fellow teenager Lewis Gurney. A 4-1 success for Large there. The doubling is what won it really, 33%. A 106 checkout as well. And Charlie Large wins by 4 legs to 1. Darts at destinations where you're going to attend, because you can't take those in your hand luggage, and we have seen it happen to a number of players, for example on the European Tour.
180.
All Dan Reid's darts land in their desired destination. Yeah, he could have posted them, couldn't he? They've got here before him.
Yeah,
59.
his travelling partner,
Dan, you
his
require
luggage got
41.
here, so there's loads of things that you wish you do, but Dan Reid would wish he could play a leg of darts like this every time. 140,
Game
140,
shot on the second
180,
leg,
and then
Dan
a
Reid.
sumptuous 41 in 2 darts. This is looking good for 2-2. It's in the hands of Dan Reid. He'll stay there. The dart at tops.
Game shot on the
2-2.
fourth leg. Dan Reid.
Quality affair. Typical match play in these best of sevens. It'll have its ups and downs. Going to go
Dan,
all
you
in.
require 40.
Double top then to complete a fabulous performance.
Game
In it
shot,
goes.
and the match. Dan Reid.
And away he goes, a 4-2 success to Boss Voss. An average for Dan Reid of over 100. Only just over 100, but it still is a three-figure average for Reid. 4 out of 8 on the doubles, the highest checkout being 72, dwarfed by finishers earlier in the day from Dan. But that's a fantastic display. And coming next, it's Rhys Collier, desperate for a win against Charlie Large.
That is tough to do these days. Only beaten by the brilliance of Shan Van Veen as he looks at
Game
tops.
shot on the
2-0.
second leg,
Different
Rhys
player we're looking
Collier.
at here with Rhys Collier. The confidence is coming back into his game, and this could be a real momentum switch.
Rhys, you require 62.
And he'd be thinking here, treble 10. I'm going to get a dart for the match.
Game,
And just
shot,
like
and a
that,
match. Rhys
Rhys
Collier.
Collier is finally up and running. That was a quality affair. The two young men done themselves really proud there. Fantastic match play, but a jubilant Rhys Collier goes off there and just shy of a 91 average. The highlight being the 114 finish. A very enjoyable game. Next up, it's Robbie King, top of the table against Lewis Gurney. So
Lewis,
once
you
again, his
require
timing is
170.
really good. Put some pressure on this 170. Spoilt last week.
Game
That's
shot on
what
the
it's
sixth
all
leg.
about, Lewis Gurney.
Found the wrong bed and allowed
you
Lewis
require
Gurney the
72.
opportunity to bring what might be regarded as a surprise win here. He opts for tops.
Game
And he nails
shot,
it.
And a match.
And he lets
Lewis
out a roar.
Gurney.
And Lewis Gurney is the first to dethrone King on Thursday here at the Super Series. Despite the average in the mid-90s from Robbie King, it was Gurney who stayed in the match with that stunning 170 checkout and then got over the line to pick up the points and join King and Dan Reid on 4. Well, Dan Reid is in action next, trying to go top of the table himself. He takes on Rhys Collier.
Dan, you require
Does
73.
leave a 2-darter because 73, you're expecting a dart or a double. You have the potential of 2. Doesn't miss the big number for 3-0.
Game shot on the third leg. Dan
Clinical.
Reid.
Very clean. And the fist pump tells you exactly how he's feeling about this. Just coming at the right time. First player on
Dan,
6
you require
points.
24.
It's been a great day for Dan so far. And that
Game,
continues
shot,
with a
and a
beautiful
match.
victory. A
Dan Reid.
4-1 victory over Rhys Collier, who's got his own troubles to sort out. But Dan is just producing the right darts at the right time. He's an experienced player here at the Motor Super Series, and he's demonstrating all his qualities. And the numbers, the tail of the tape, just shy of 96 average, following his 100 average previously. Dan is the man right now. And next up, it's Lewis Gurney against Gino Voss. Here is
Lewis, you
you've got a
require
guy who's
63.
very consistent in Gino Voss. He's not demonstrating it at the moment, but
Game shot on
he
the
loves
first
that double
leg.
18,
Lewis
and we just said he
Gurney.
can't hit it for Toffee. Group A there, I thought they played fantastically well in a group won by Jerome Mayock.
170.
It's a big, big ask from here now. You're relying on a big score here, and even that will leave not the greatest to finish. He's looking because that's his first treble for a while. And you know what happens after that. Easy game, isn't it, Gino?
180. Lewis, you require 56.
Will it count for Nout? Goes to his favourite double. Was fallen out of favour. It's written on every wrinkle on
Game,
his face,
shot,
but
and a match.
he
Lewis
finds
Gurney.
double 9. And that 180 did indeed count for nothing for Gino Voss. A 4-1 defeat for the Dutchman as Gurney marches up towards the top of the table, tied on 6 points with Dan Reid, who he still has to play. But before that, Charlie Large will take on Robbie King.
Charlie, you require 153.
Upstairs now. Oh, this will be fabulous. Double 18.
Game
In
shot
it
on the third
goes.
leg. Charlie
A
Large.
big finish from Charlie Large. Fabulous 153. Respect from Robbie King. 20 to avoid having to navigate darts in the way of tops. But he is going to have to deal with that now. Stepping across slightly, but you can actually see it
Game
clearly.
shot on the fourth leg, Robbie King.
The only reason I can think he moved across was to just follow the line of the darts that were in the board.
I fancied Robbie King to win this game. He's right up against it, the pressure, but he needs a treble 19. He gets the treble 19. What a finish, what a response,
Robbie King.
What a player. Robbie King stood up to be counted there. Once again, another fantastic contest. Both players share a moment with each other. Nothing to separate them in the numbers there. All for the fact that Robbie King, when it came down to it, smashed in that winning double. A fabulous, fabulous finish from the Aussie. We move into the final games of Group A. And Lewis Gurney will be up next against Dan Reid. A big, big game. Enough
Lewis,
pressure from Dan
require
Reid, you
98.
feel. But this is for the match.
Double 18, of course.
Game shot.
And in it
and
goes. And Lewis Gurney finds his favoured double for the second time today to win 4-3 against one of his title rivals. And in doing so, moves to the top of the table. What a day for Lewis Gurney. Wins 4 of his 5 matches. Finishing off with that 4-3 success against Dan Reid. He ends the day on 6 points, and we've still got 2 games to come. Gino Voss against Charlie Large, but first, Rhys Collier faces Robbie King.
Look at it, he slams it in. This makes this 86 very difficult, but that's a beautiful first start.
Game shot on the fourth leg,
That's the
Rhys
moment for
Collier.
Rhys Collier's been waiting for. We've got a chance. It's double 8. And it's
Game,
a royal
shot,
performance
and a
from
match,
Robbie King,
Robbie
who finishes
King.
the day with 4 wins out of 5. We've got a chance. It's double 8. And it's
Game,
a royal
shot,
performance
and a
from
match,
Robbie King,
Robbie
who finishes
King.
the day with 4 wins out of 5. 8 points. The Aussie has played superb today and demonstrated real bottle once again when asked the question. The tail of the tape there, another 90-plus average there for Robbie King. Superb on the outer ring, and that sublime 1-2-1 finish. Tough day at the office for Rhys Collier, but he will be back tomorrow as we move on to the final game of the day. It's Gino Voss against Charlie Large. His release point just isn't consistent. It's double 8 for 2-1.
Game shot on the third leg,
From
Gino
absolutely
Voss.
nowhere times, he's flat to deceive at times for Gino Voss.
He'll
Gino
win
require 32.
at the end of the day's play.
Game shot.
In it
and a match,
goes.
Gino Voss.
And Gino Voss does get the better of Charlie Large, who will be disappointed in the end because he did show in spells what he can produce. A good victory earlier on, but it proved to be his only victory, that win against Lewis Gurney, and the only defeat for Gurney, who's tied at the top of the table with Robbie King. Gino Voss, though, just gives himself some hope to cling to going into tomorrow after he defeats, in the final game of the day, Charlie Large by 4 legs to 1.
Thank you very much, Chris. Glenn Darwin up here on the balcony with me to assess what we have seen today. Now, these are the results from our 15 matches. It has to be said, it's been quick-fire tungsten for us on this Thursday afternoon at the Super Series. So those are the results on your screen. A group dominated, really, by Robbie King and Lewis Gurney. Dan Reid himself having 3 wins out of the day, and it feels like a league of 2 halves at this early stage.
Yeah, it certainly does. It's a 3-horse race for me. And 2 great interviews that you had with Robbie King. I think the confidence is coming out of him, and the softly spoken, sort of understated in Lewis Gurney as well. And you do feel like it's 2 from 3.
So Robbie King, top of the table, 4 wins from 5. This is the 1-2-1 to get the better of Rhys Collier by 4 legs to 2. Now, this was kind of Robbie King's mantra. Big finishing, big scoring. And also, he's not afraid to let the opponents know when he's doing something
Absolutely.
good.
And I think Lewis Gurney was doing exactly the same there. But it wasn't such the big finishes that impressed me most about him. It was the fact that when he had a dart at a double, when it was getting really tight, he nailed it. And that's a real sign of great bottle. It's a good attribute to have.
I spoke to Robbie up here on the balcony about maybe feeling fresh this year. Obviously, he travelled over from Australia. There is a bit of a time gap from doing that. And maybe the second week, whether he would feel fresher going into it. Did it feel like he was fresher today?
I still don't think he was the Robbie King from day one of last week where I thought he was great, but he's got an awful lot of good things about him. And don't forget, you don't want to be peaking in Group C. You don't want to. You just want qualification. And I think he's going to enjoy the crowd on Saturday night if he qualifies as well. So it's a good time to be Robbie King right now.
So Robbie King, the man at the top of the table. He is followed closely by Gurney, who's had a really good day today. Now, we were mentioning down in the commentary box, Glenn, yesterday about how he's got this freedom and he can go and do something special. He nailed the big fish against Robbie King.
He's just a likeable person. I mean, I know you shouldn't have favourites in the commentary box, but it was great to see. And I did tap the table when that 170 thing. You know, good things can happen to good people, and good luck to Lewis. Big day for him tomorrow.
And again, he was speaking up here on the balcony about the fact that last year has been good, but the last couple of weeks, the form hasn't been quite to the standard that he's come to expect from himself. But do you feel like he's playing himself into it this week?
Just don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. And when next time I write to him and say, how's the game going, then just show a little bit of bravado, because that's when the subconscious can come into it, where all of a sudden you're telling yourself you're not playing very well. Looks like he's playing okay to me. And he's had a good day today. He's put himself in a good position, but don't put negative connotations whenever your responses to people. Tell the world you're playing well. And I'm loving the fist pumps all of a sudden. I've seen him grow through in the week.
Yeah, the fist bumps have become so commonplace. We do it up here on the balcony now, don't we, Glenn? There we go. Right, into Dan Reid's day we go, because, well, a change of equipment has meant a change of fortune. So he changed it for the middle of the day yesterday. And today, well, as far as individual performances are concerned, he's put in the two best so far.
101, 102, 97. Just, he has the guy with the levels, but I think he goes away a little bit disappointed. 6 points, probably what he didn't deserve today. He was the headline act for big periods, but consistency is key at the Motor Super Series. He'll come back fighting tomorrow, and that opening game he has is very important.
As I say, it's been a table split into two halves. This is how the land lies following the first day. So Robbie King and Gurney in the two qualification spots, both on 8 points at the top of the table. Dan Reid keeping close company in behind on 6. Gino Voss keeps himself in the hunt on 4, whilst Charlie Large and Rhys Collier both going to need big days tomorrow. And perhaps Rhys Collier, the one at the bottom of the table, is the one that may be the biggest surprise to many people.
Yeah, I had a mixed information about Rhys Collier. I mean, I watched him in his England Six Nations, and he didn't play anywhere near what he could. Then I watched him at the development tour last week, and the development tour now is so competitive, and he reached the final, losing to Shan Van Veen, who's up there as one of the best players in the world right now. So I wasn't sure which Rhys Collier we were going to get. And the fact he changed tungsten after match 1 to 2, that concerned me as well. So he's not himself. It's going to be a tough ask, but he's kind of one of them players there where he might dictate what's going to happen at the top tomorrow.
Well, that is the Group C action, which continues tomorrow, 1 o'clock here on the YouTube channel, before joining our friends at Sporty Stuff TV from 3. Right, though, we are midway through the week's action now. Session 4 of 8 has been and gone. This is how the bracket breaks down then, as far as the final week of qualification is concerned. We have one confirmed finalist through to the finale on Saturday, and that is by way of Jerome Meok. He was our Group A winner yesterday. He's enjoying a couple of days off and enjoying the rainy skies of Portsmouth right now. So Group C has been and gone, and tonight it's all about Group B, and there are some real heavyweights involved in that. You've got Martin Adams, 3-time Lakeside champion, Robert Thornton, the twice World Seniors champion. You've got a former world finalist in Mark McGuinney. And Thursday night, Group B, Conor Heenahan. Surely it means only one thing, Glenn.
Well, you've promised me a 9 to Henry, so I'll be waxing lyrical tonight, that's for sure. But I'm just praying you're not going to ask me 3 from 5 there, because I'll have to sit on the fence. I'm just going to sit back, commentate, and enjoy that. Unbelievable. Looking forward to Robert Thornton. It's great to see the Thornton Martin Adams. Heenahan's already proved that. Mark McGuinney can do it on the day. Brett Clayton was a Pro Tour card holder very recently. It's a real pick-em.
It really is going to be some night of fun here at the Super Series. It's going to be a Thursday night tungsten thriller amongst the roof here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. And we will join you once again at 10 p.m. for all of the action on what's going to be a fantastic evening's worth of action in Group B. So myself and Glenn, Chris Murphy, will all join you for that from 10 p.m. But as far as Group C is concerned, on day 1 is Robbie King, who finds himself on the summit. Well, someone's going to have to dethrone him tomorrow. We'll see you at 10.